Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. Sanity is a cozy lie. That's a quote from a lady by the name of Susan Sontag. And I want to talk about sanity, because when you talk about sanity, you also have to talk about insanity. Susan Sontag was called the Dark Lady of Intellectual Life. She was a 1960s era political activist, among other things, poet, photographer, etc. So you can imagine what her politics were. And she said sanity is a cozy lie. And it made me think, really, it's a cozy lie, because I feel very sane. I believe most of you are, very intellectual people. You're very smart. But you know what we don't do? We don't carry our intellect on our sleeves. I could use verbose words, big words, grandiose gestures and such, and make you believe that I'm smarter than what I am. I'm very smart. I'll admit that. But I don't need to do that. I can speak in normal tones. I believe you'll figure out that I'm pretty sane. That you'll say, you know what, Kevin seems to deal in common sense. I tell people all the time, there's no mystery. There's no crazy thing that I do that you go, wow, that Kevin, he's such a guru of thought. Common sense is no longer common. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't see what I do. I may deliver it rather comically or cleverly, but the thought processes are all yours. That's why I give you so much credit. I believe in you folks. You are brilliant people. I say this all the time. I write something and the comments blow me away. I would love to write a piece and then take all the comments and write another piece that would be Pulitzer Prize winning. Because your thoughts are so interesting to me. I may spur them. I may, be the genesis of them. I may be the spark that lights that in you, but you folks are amazing. And you know what's most amazing about us? We're amazing in our lack of complexity. That core value that we talk about all the time is just so easy to predict. If I say to you, hey, could you handle bringing in 5 new people into your household and tell me that it's going to be cost positive for you if they don't work? If they eat and use all the facilities and all that, and they do that, they don't even speak the language? And I could go on. I'm talking about immigration right now, but that's just an example. If I said, hey, would it be cool if I brought in a couple of people that you really don't know very well? They don't speak your language. They're culturally very different. They have this thing called rape culture. They would consider you an infidel, ergo an enemy. You would either convert to their religion or they'll cut your head off in the middle of the night, or maybe while you're preparing lunch. What would you say to me? Are you insane, man? Of course you would. But Susan Sontag, political activist of the 60s, says sanity is a cozy lie. See, she wants to imply that we're cozy in our sanity, unless we are freakazoids, high on LSD or some other hallucinogenic drug. We can't understand, man, that sanity is a cozy lie. Insanity is where you want to be, baby. Insanity. On the edge. You're living, when you go, well, I'm going to take my check and I'm going to tithe 10% to the good Lord, and then I'm going to put 10% away for a rainy day that I'll never touch, and then I'll start saving for that vacation and the kids and getting married and blah, 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 and running my own business, and you structure your life. You're too sane. Why can't you cast your fate to the wind, Christian? Don't you believe that God will make a way? God will make a way somehow. Remind me of an old church song used to sing. Yeah, God will make a way. God will definitely make a way, but he certainly puts it upon you to say, hey, you might want to plan. Don't you love these people that they're like, nah, man, I don't want to get my degree in anything that's going to actually make me money because I'm an artist. I'm a creator, man. And, I just cast my fate to the wind. They don't even cast their fate believing in God. God will make a way. They go, no, I just cast my fate to the wind. I just go whichever direction the wind blows, man. Whoever I meet, whatever happens. Then they're 45 going, we need a livable wage. It's insane what they want us to accept as a No, what's insane was when you were 20 years old and people were telling you, learn a craft, don't believe in your poetry, you don't believe that you're the best guitar player, the best singer, or that you actually have the drive to make it, because you know what? 99.999% of people do not get to what you want them to get. They don't get there. They flatly don't make it. And it is insane for you not to have a backup plan. Let me tell you, my boys are old now, but I would say to them, look, guys, you may like being a basketball player, baseball player. You may like the dream of whatever's looming out there for you. But let me tell you something. The likelihood of you achieving that's pretty slim. Enjoy it. You know how many college athletes there are? Good ball players, good baseball, basketball, track stars, whatever, that don't go beyond that. And you know what their backup plans are? I'll be a coach. I'll be a physical therapist. I'll be a personal trainer. They're smart in thinking that. If you think that your goal, I'm going to go pro. Now, as soon as I do this, I'll go pro. Yeah, famous last words of people that work, at the airport, dumping out trash cans. And I know this because one of my friends who played at SMU, who was an amazing talent, got caught up in coke. And that's exactly what he was doing. I went to the airport and I saw him. I couldn't believe it. But the reason why I bring all this up, folks, is you're sane. You live life on the up and up. You play by the rules. You do it the right way. And then you instill that in your kids. And people say it's a cozy lie. The sane life you've created, not the chaos. Some people go, it's fun to live in the chaos. Says who? Let me tell you something. I love knowing where my next meal is going to come from. It's in my refrigerator. I love knowing I can put gas in my car. I love knowing in advance I've got speaking engagements. I love knowing in advance that my book is going to bring a certain number of revenue. There are lots of things I like to know. I like to be able to plan. Look, I'm all about spontaneity. I think it's cool to be spontaneous. But I also think it's cool to be able to plan stuff. And I also think it's cool to be able to use your God-given common sense to understand that living in a sane world is the way people live. You want to be avant-garde, you want to be an artist, you want to be whatever it is that makes you feel like your life is different, be it. You want to party all night, do whatever that crowd does, do it. But you can't cherry pick your sanity. And that's what the left does. They cherry pick it. They want to be avant-garde, but then when it comes to things that could hurt them, then they get their sanity.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. The Democrats are going sane. You heard me right. kjradio.com is where you can find out about me and the team. And also, if you want to call the show, 844-551-8255. The Democrats are going sane. No, I didn't say insane. Democrats are already insane. You know this. Look at their policies. Hey, we can spend our way out of debt. That's a quote from their God. Barack Obama, well, you can spend your way out of debt. Nancy Pelosi said for every dollar put into welfare, they get $1.75 out. What kind of physics does she use? Where welfare, as she calls it, is stimulus. That's the logic. Hillary Clinton, you don't have to believe me, folks. These are not the jokes. Hillary Clinton said corporations, don't go believing that corporations create jobs. She said that with her own mouth. Corporations don't create jobs. Both Barack Obama and Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren said corporations wouldn't exist without roads and bridges. Funny how they existed without roads and bridges before we got government involved to tell us that corporations couldn't exist without roads and bridges. We made a joke about roads and bridges.
Hello, my name is Roads and Bridges. You may know me as the star of great films like The Roads and Bridges Over the River Kwai or The Roads and Bridges of Madison County. And it's not just the movies. I was part of some great songs too. Ventura Highway by America. Penny Lane by the Beatles. It's absolutely true. Not one of these cultural icons could have been successful without roads and bridges. Here at Roads and Bridges Incorporated, we'd like to thank President Obama
Roads and Bridges
and Massachusetts Senate candidate Elizabeth Warren.
Bridges and roads.
No, it's Roads and Bridges. Oh, never mind.
Roads and Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President, for all your help with publicity. Now I know the good book says the rain falls upon the just and the unjust. And, of course, Roads and Bridges lead you to the successful business and the unsuccessful. If you have Roads and Bridges helping your business and you somehow still manage to fail, it's Bush's fault. I'm Roads and Bridges, and you can't succeed in business without me.
There you go, Roads and Bridges. Democrats are going sane. Sane, not insane. They're already insane in the brain. Insane in the brain. They are. They're crazy. Those are just some of the ideas. So the new stuff, the new ideas around the Democrats are they want you to believe that a guy who has no political connections whatsoever to Russia thwarted the electoral system, got around all the things that they set up, all the traps to get himself elected, and the only way he could do that was with the help of the Russians. There's no way Donald Trump could win on his own, and they made doggone sure of it. That's why Barack Obama could be so cocky. Well, at least I'll go down as president. I loved when at the inauguration, when Donald Trump got to stand there and you could just see him, he just stared at Barack Obama like, yep, I made it, you stooge. And Barack Obama had to give the keys over to the Trumps, Donald and Melania. And then he ran off into the sunset. And before that had even happened, Donald Trump had already started embarrassing Barack Obama. Did I mention he's the Democrats' God? He's Chris Rock's father. He's Jamie Foxx's God. And he is the savior of their party. That's according to Jim Carville. Barack Obama was going to be so revolutionary that nobody was going to want to vote for a Republican for at least 100 years. And now, guess what? You got Democrats moving right, I should say, not moving left and right, moving right. Leftists moving to the right. Now, Donald Trump Jr. said something interesting. He said, what could my dad have accomplished if he didn't have all this stuff going against him, all this nonsense, white noise? Just a fly buzzing in the ear, or a gnat, a mosquito, because that's what the left are. They're mosquitoes. Nuisances at the picnic, because it's been a picnic. I'm just saying, folks, Democrats are going insane. One of the definitions of sanity is the ability to tell real from unreal. Soon, we'll have to find a new definition. That's from Alvin Toffler. You looked at a picture of something and went, wow, that looks so real. You read a story, fake news, and went, wow, that sounds so real. We are having trouble discerning the real from the fake. You want to know why? Because the fakes on the left, they are constantly manipulating the system. They don't want you to see things for how they are. That's the problem. You now have to be very smart in how you discern your information. And you have done it. You've done it. There are lots of ways to trick you. Many folks, these people are clever. Marketing geniuses. They've used Madison Avenue. They've used Hollywood. They've used the entertainment industry. They have used every trick in the book. And you know what? Y'all just are so impressive. I love you, conservative audience. You figured it out. You figured out how they build talking points. Trump, Russian collusion, Russian colluding with the Russians, Trump colluding, Russians, Trump colluding. And you go, wow, I hear that 50,000 times all day. Trump must be colluding with the Russians. Right, Lassie? What are you trying to tell me, Lassie? Oh, Hillary Clinton stuck down a well and we need to go get her? Oh, and be sure to bring a rope and a ladder and a truck because she's pretty heavy? Okay. And you know what you do? You look at Lassie and say, shut up, dog. You ain't telling me nothing. Quit barking. Hillary stuck in a hill, down a hole. Good to know. Go get me another beer, Lassie. Democrats are going insane. The inability to tell real from fake. That's what it is. Do we live in that world now? Look at how the left got fooled. The inability to tell real from fake. Barack Obama. Case in point. The left could not understand this dude was a total fraud. Hillary Clinton. Really? Do I really need to go there? Total fraud. All these people with these amazing degrees, the so-called intelligentsia, the intellectuals on the left, are the biggest frauds in the world. They don't know jack. They, say a bunch of pretty names and, know a bunch of people's names and countries and where they're located and can tell you all these stories about vacationing there and hanging out with so-and-so. They're nothing but a bunch of frauds. That's what they live their lives doing. Hey, we'll make you big. That makes us big. So Harvey Weinstein hangs out with Hillary Clinton because would he hang out with her otherwise? No, because she's too ugly. Would Hillary hang out with Harvey? No. Let's be blunt. Let's be honest. Harvey's an ugly dude. And he didn't have to guess. He knew it from an early age. And when he got money, he decided people were going to pay. But what he did is they all bolster each other up and make themselves bigger than life because they're frauds. Democrats are sane, go insane.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. It's a Kevin Jackson Show. Theme today is sanity. Sanity, sanity, sanity. I don't know. Look, I've never used drugs. And you could say at times I've lost my mind a time or two. Like you just get a little frazzled over some things, maybe trauma in your life. But never where I would call myself insane. I've 99.999% of the time lived a very sane life. Knew right from wrong. Always had my wits about me. And I've never thought to myself, man, I should experiment with insanity for just a little bit and see what it's like. No, I've seen it. I've seen people crazy. I've seen crazy folks. I mean, I could tell you some stories. So I don't need to experience. It's kind of like somebody says to me, hey, have you ever run into a wall? No, but I've seen somebody doing it and it doesn't make me want to do it. you haven't experienced life until you've, skydived off a mountain without a parachute. Yeah, well, so you say, because I'm not doing it. I want to go into underestimating Donald Trump. See, I've seen what happens when people underestimate an opponent. When you spend as much time as I have, and I'm putting it in a fight game. People love that talk so much. A couple of people, they hate when I talk about this. It's part of my life. What do you want me to talk about? Anyway, I spent time training as a warrior, youngster. Time I was 8 years old, learning how to fight. It's just the way it was. You grow up on the streets. That's the way it is. Got to be tough. And if you underestimate somebody, don't be surprised when it's game over and you're looking at the inside of your eyelids in a supine position. That means you got knocked the flunk out. Okay. Never forget, I was a little league baseball player, and I was a tough kid. Probably about 12, 13 years old, I'm guessing. I don't know, maybe, yeah, something like that. And this little chubby kid, he was friends to one of my best friends. He was a cousin to one of my best friends. Some Mexican kid who was a big kid picked on this little white boy. And he just was like, the little white boy was like, just leave me alone, like this. And I don't understand what the beef is with this little chubby Mexican dude, but he was like, no, man, he's bullying this kid. And I wasn't going to let him, fight the kid unless the kid wanted to fight. It was one of those deals where I was just staying out of it, but watching the situation. And this little kid's probably 10, 11 years old. I don't know. I may have been a little older, to be honest with you. But long story short, the little kid finally says, I don't have a problem fighting him. He goes, I just don't want everybody jumping on me. I'll fight him. And so I said to the kid, I was like, got some guts. And this other little Mexican kid was from a family of supposed fighters, the Galindos. So this little white boy says, as long as nobody else is going to get involved, I don't care. I'll fight him. And I was like, wow, this little chubby, little fat, because he was a chubby kid too, and didn't look like he could fight his way out of a paper sack. And so little Mexican kid's all cocky, like, oh, let's do it. So the little white kid stands off, and he goes into one of those old style boxing things where the one fist is way out and the other fist is close to his face. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Those old school with the guy's got his chin up. He might as well be smoking a pipe. And so the Mexican kid gets set up like he's going to fight. And I'm not exaggerating this one bit. Little kid just, poop, that fist that was way out there. He just popped it out there and hit that kid in the chin. And it surprised him. And then this little kid, once he got that punch in, pop, 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 pop. He wailed on this dude. He wailed on him. I stood back and went, whoa. That fight was over in 10 seconds. And that little kid just, got his gear or whatever, and he walked back. The only thing he was afraid of is other people jumping in. And I told him, I said, look, I'm not encouraging you guys to fight. I don't know what this is about, but nobody else is going to jump on you. That I'll guarantee you. And he goes, enough said. And he whooped that dude's butt, but good. He was easily 30 pounds lighter, 4 inches shorter, and he didn't give a crap. And I'm telling you, that little Mexican kid was in shock. It's 10, 15 seconds that fight lasted. This little kid, from that one boop, old school punch to the it was rat-a-tat-tat on his knotted head is what it was. And after that, I was like, wow. You don't underestimate an opponent. I had a similar thing, except mine was, we weren't trying to fight. Guy just would watch me train, and he was like, what is that? Never seen martial arts. He'd been in the pen, been in the penitentiary, but he was a boxer, short little dude. Little arms like alligators. But boy, I'm going to tell you what, if we'd been fighting, he would have whooped my head because I'd underestimated him. I was 19 years old, fresh, got my one of my black belts, and this guy would have whooped my head. And I learned then and there, my lesson was as ingrained in me at that point than I could ever imagine. I can't even tell you that. Anyway, Democrats have learned that very same cruel lesson dealing with Donald Trump. You never underestimate your opponent. And as for Trump, he's a trained warrior. Probably hadn't fought a day in his life, physically. Mentally, this guy has fought thousands. I'm talking tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of times he's been to battle. And see, Donald Trump would never underestimate his opponent. He would never underestimate the cunning nature of a Democrat. And in fact, here's something you guys probably forget. Donald Trump acknowledged this in a debate with Hillary Clinton. You remember? They said, okay, guys, name one thing you admire about one another. And I don't remember what Hillary said. That's how insignificant it was. But I remember what Trump said. He says, I admire her fight. He extolled her virtues, on her ability to hang in there and to fight. He knew she was crooked. He knew she had cheated Bernie Sanders. He knew she was a vile, despicable human being. But he still said, I see the warrior in her. A lot of other people, they would have been gone. They didn't, they wouldn't have lasted. I admire her fight. Crooked and ruthless, but nonetheless worthy as an opponent. He didn't make a value judgment on her. Everybody that's against you is a piece of crap opponent, at least if you're going to be in a fight or a war. So why would you, be mad that they want to come after you? No warrior's mad at a guy that wants to fight. When you get in the ring, I'm not mad. You know what I get mad about? That I trained for this moment. You're mad because, and you can't be mad about it because it's what you chose to do. But imagine, you're on the street or you're in a battle for your political life and you have to fight people that you know are crooked. They're coming after you. But you know why? You get mad because you had to train. You knew this moment would come. That's what makes you mad as a warrior. Anyway, Trump recognized that. He admired that in Hillary Clinton despite who she was. But here's the other thing Trump knows. He knows his own skill set. He knows what he brings to the party. Hundreds of thousands, like I said, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of negotiations, of sharpening that steel, of beating that steel down to make it harder and harder and better and better. No cracks, no flaking, no nothing. Until he's ready. He's going to heat that thing up and rebeat it over and over and over, and he'll beat it for years. And then finally, it's time for the quench. Psst. And that steel is hardened. And it can be sharpened down to the point where it will cut practically anything. Trump knows his skill set. And he also knows when the other people are lacking. He knows his opponents. Look at how Trump, for example, used the media. It was bad media. It was bad press. He knew it. But what happened? His message leached through. It leaked through. It made it through. It was supposed to be impervious to all their nonsense. We heard recently 90% of the news that they put on the other channels outside of Fox is against Donald Trump. And yet, he still manipulates the media. He still beats them at their own game. Little mini wars inside of other wars. And he dominates them. There would be hardly any news on the other side of the aisle if it weren't for Donald Trump making it. Chuck Todd had, not Mulvaney, maybe it was Mulvaney. And he's doing an interview, and Mulvaney's like, I have nothing to do with Russia. And Todd's like, yeah, but you're the only person we can talk to. Please tell us something. Please, please, please. He's begging. Please give me something on Russia. I don't talk to the president about that. I'll talk about the State of the Union. That's how bad it is for the lamestream media, the fake news media. Without Trump, without access to his people who are on lockdown, they got nothing. And here's Fox and Sean Hannity just going to town, man. Crushing it. All because the left underestimate Donald Trump. The left have found their sanity, folks, not their insanity. They're always insane. We're making them sane.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Too much sanity may be madness, and the maddest of all, to see life as it is, not as it should be. Miguel de Cervantes said that. He is the person who wrote Don Quixote. Now, that saying, too much sanity may be madness, and the maddest of all, to see life as it is, not as it should be, I say applies to Hillary Clinton. Yeah, she's now seeing life as it is, not life as it should be. That's got to be sheer madness. Yeah, glad you guys are here. kjradio.com, 844-551-8255. We are dealing with sanity, which means we also have to deal with insanity. And the insanity of it all is you started to count. But what's really insane about that is you never should have not counted. Does that confuse you? In other words, you're the boss. We are the boss. When did the boss let the employees start running us? Because that's what we do. We do it across the board. How much money does the average Holly weirdo make? Who's the boss? You're the boss. You're the ones who determine who gets to be popular and who doesn't. They think they do. I'm super talented. I'm really a good singer. I'm this or that. I've got lots of drive. Let me tell you something. There are more talented people in every field of study. Everybody you know. Give me your best actor. There's somebody you don't know who's 10 times better. Give me your best singer. There's some voice you've never heard that's 10 times better. Guarantee you. They get so caught up in themselves. We live in bizarro world, opposite world. Sanity is insanity. And you know what we did? We did something really insane. We elected a person who's actually qualified to run the country. How crazy is that? Have you thought that? When Donald Trump got elected, did you know people that went, that's just insane. That's freaking crazy, man. He ain't even a politician. That's what it was set up for. The sanity of the founding fathers says, we don't want politicians. We want business people, people from the ground, people from the crowd, people from the hood. We want them in there. We don't want professional politicians. We want you to serve and go back to your farms, go back to your businesses, go back to your families. But you know what we do? We send these suckers up there and they stay forever. And you know what happens when you stay forever? You try to figure out a way to stay longer. And we allow it. President's got term limits. We accept it. Congress has no term limits. We got judges that have to die in office. Many roles are that way. Now we've even got deep state roles that have no elected officials whatsoever. They can be appointed by the people in power. They give them power over you in ways that would blow your mind. And we think we're insane. I said, we think it's stupid when a dog chases its tail. The dog's looking at us going, this may look stupid, but what y'all do makes me look like a genius. We got Donald Trump elected. His message got through the insanity of the media. He was able to make sure that all the crooked facets of that Clinton fake diamond, that cubic zirconia, shine through. And despite the media onslaught that Donald Trump faced, you know what he did? He trusted his training. All those years of the art of the deal, understanding people, understanding emotions, understanding, having his finger on the pulse of America. Donald Trump has applied warrior concepts to his daily routine, so much so they are second nature to him. He doesn't even have to think about it. And the Democrats oblige him because they still, even to this moment, they underestimate Donald Trump. One of Trump's favorite quotes is, "A leader has a right to be beaten, but never the right to be surprised." What he's saying is, I may enter that race knowing Usain Bolt's going to beat me, but it isn't going to be by a surprise. I know exactly what can happen. I don't know why it can happen. And I will have trained around it. And if I can maneuver him, it's like, using fight talk, I'm a little dude. I'm not that huge. So if I'm in a confined space, I have to change tactics. If I'm free to roam, you may not ever even get to put your hands on me. You get what I'm saying? There should be no surprises. Donald Trump hardly sleeps, constantly prepared for battle, probably sleeps with a sword and metaphorical shield by his bedside. But most interesting to me when I analyze Trump is the ease at which he toys with the left. The ease, battle ready, from dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of micro battles that occur every single day. For the record, you're in those battles as well. Trump, they say, has a fondness for Sun Tzu. And I bet he's familiar with this quote. He approves of this if he's smart, holds out baits to entice the enemy, feign disorder, and crush him. This is the hidden strategy. So not only did Trump not stop the Democrats' attack on him, folks, but he actually forced them to prosecute it. This is from a guy who wrote this in American Thinker, Daniel Ashman. He gathered Democrat swamp monsters into a single group under his control, pointed them in a direction, and off they went. From this perspective, the more anti-Trump the investigators are, the better. The Democrats are well into their attack, ranting, chasing, running through the mountain pass, but they're looking at a mirage rather. Trump isn't there. They haven't noticed that Trump is president. Trump and his team are on top of the overlooks on either side. The ambush against Democrats is well underway. Daniel Ashman wrote this in American Thinker. And he couldn't be more, this is so true. He goes on, the truth about Mueller's investigation is coming out, and it's highly damaging. Be it about Mueller's team member Peter Strzok and Lisa Page exchanging text messages calling Trump a loathsome human. Andrew McCabe testifying about a meeting in his office where FBI agents said they, quote, can't take that risk of Trump becoming president. Or Mueller obtaining thousands of Trump transition team emails in an improper manner. Democrats are not prepared for these developments. They never thought it would happen. You follow? The mainstream media, they're blacking it out. They don't want to tell you. Eric Holder and James Comey are doing juvenile tweets. See, Trump pretends to be dead, so the prey will come near him. Then he strikes him with the speed of a serpent. And I'm talking about quick-acting neurotoxin that makes them get their sanity. Because you know what happens now that the Democrats are starting to get their sanity? They're seeing their real future. Trump speaks in ambiguous terms. Many times I've listened to this man. I've followed him. Once he made the transition and was the guy, I said I'd support him. And then I had to go back and look at the things that he said because people on the right were, he's not a conservative. He donates more to the Democrats. And I started going back and looking at what he said and how he said it, his phraseology, if you will. And I thought to myself, he's ambiguous. He's ambiguous on many issues. And this is a learned tactic. It allows him necessary outs while signaling that a deal is possible, but only under certain circumstances. In this article, he continues, he says, this is how Trump wants it. Remember, during the campaign, Trump emphasized that he wouldn't tell America's enemies what his plans were. Sun Tzu says these military devices leading to victory must not be divulged beforehand. Part of the reason that Trump wants a confusing situation. After the ambush comes the counterattack. Trump's troops have been positioned. The preparations are being completed. The enemy is placed in a vulnerable spot. Does any of this ring a bell to you? The Justice Department's Inspector General report's going to come out, damaging information on Democrat operatives. Congressmen are getting increasingly fed up with the lies by these deep state bureaucrats. They're begging Trump to pursue Democrat corruption more aggressively. Remember when people screamed, folks, that Mueller had stacked the deck against the president? Yeah, he did. He got Mueller to assemble a lot of swamp creatures into one area, the kill zone. Now who's in it? Comey lawyered up. Peter Strzok lawyered up. McCabe resigned. My bet this guy requests immunity and witness protection soon. Democrats now scramble to exit stage left with as much of their flesh as they can keep on. Hardly a high-level Obama administration person is going to go untouched. And most of Clinton's staff will look for representation soon. And I'm not talking about literary agents. Donald Trump's got him right where he wants him. One of the smartest moves in the history of politics. And he did it for us. He didn't do it for himself.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. There was a crash in Amtrak train. Yeah. Happened a day or two ago? Amtrak train carrying the GOP to a retreat. It crashed. Members of Congress crashed into a dump truck. Oh, the symbolism. Oh, man. Dump truck driver got killed, though. Here's what the New York Post said. An Amtrak train carrying members of Congress, including House Speaker Paul Ryan, to a GOP retreat in West Virginia, slammed into a garbage truck Wednesday, killing one person. No lawmakers or staff were hurt, according to the White House. A nurse at the scene reported at least one fatality and one person in critical condition after the crash. Trains win. They win against 18-wheelers. They win against trucks, regular pickup trucks. They win against any type of regular automobile. They win easily. Maybe a tank could get them. But boy, trains have so much momentum. They win. Stay out of the way. I don't know what, when I heard this story, I was wondering, did the Democrats set this dude up? Is he is this a Trump dump truck driver that was going to testify against the Clintons? You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that you think about when you know what really goes on in the deep state. Nurse said it just plowed into that truck. We didn't know what it was until our car went by the garbage truck, said Representative Mike Bishop. He's a Republican out of Michigan. Dump truck. Look, train's coming. Get off the... Unless you have a death wish, get off the tracks. He says it was a forceful impact. You could tell we hit something substantial. The train jumped, lurched forward. It was a loud bang. So they hit, a dump. By the way, a dump truck is a hefty truck. Man, Amtrak, I was just thinking about the number of Amtrak issues still. At some point, President Trump's probably going to say, we need to look at the infrastructure of Amtrak. Remember that train just not long ago? They said, it was traveling way too fast. Well, why? Oh, man. He said emergency responders rushed to the scene, all this. And the GOPers were fine. You're going to get maybe a little bruising, but they're fine. I was thinking about it, though. Would have been more fitting if the train had carried crooked Democrats and then they ended up in the dump truck. That would have been funny. The Democrats, like I said, probably set this whole thing up. Hey, the Republicans are going to a retreat. It's going to be going through Charlottesville, and that's where we can make this happen. We don't know who the fatality is, and somebody else is in bad position. But you can assume that the truck driver, who is likely the person who was killed, is one of the forgotten people that the Democrats protect. And here's how I would say CNN would have reported the story if they had more details, if they a fake news story. So I'm not saying CNN reported this, but I'm saying if they did, here's how I would predict they would report it. So the headline would be, Republicans crashed their train into Dreamer driving a dump truck. And then they would give you the story. At 2 p.m. on blah, blah, blah day, this, that, and the other, on our second year of Obama, not Obama or whatever, Juan Miguel dreamed of living in America and was in fact a dreamer. Juan never committed a crime. Juan came over with his family at the age of 11. He went on to attend junior college and then finally college in an effort to improve his life. Juan was learning English, and he wanted to earn more money to provide for his family of 6 children. In a previous interview, Juan revealed that he works hard so that he could bring his abuelito and abuelita to America. He wanted his grandparents to be closer to their parents, to their kids, and to his children, which would be their great-grandchildren. That's all Juan wanted. His dream of, here it comes, family reunification, the PC term for chain migration, that racist term, was the reason that Juan worked so hard. But Donald Trump killed Juan's dreams. Trump didn't fund the anti-train bill that runs into Ron, and thus Amtrak trains have gone rogue on the tracks in America, killing dreamers in epidemic numbers. And another irony, that the train wrecked in Charlottesville, the site of the white supremacy event a while back. You guys know what I'm talking about? Put on by Jason, I think his name is Kessler. I've spoken to Jason. He's not a white supremacist, but that's what they called his event. I mean, it's a sarcastic scenario that I just laid there for you, but I'm telling you, don't be surprised if you hear some sad story about one. He's a dreamer. Or he's from Africa. And he wanted a free life. I just wanted to be American. That's all I wanted. I wanted to be here, next to Kevin Jackson. This is the crazy world we live in now, folks. The crazy, crazy world. So, I don't know what's going on. Amtrak, I rode Amtrak from New York to D.C. a couple of times. And I'd be lying to you if I said it wasn't on my mind that Amtrak could crash, and likely would. I had an escape plan in the event that the train crashed. How crazy is that? I should have just been enjoying my ride. I don't ride the train very often, but when I said, because I had an event in D.C. I had to get to, it was easier to take the train than to try to fly from one airport to the other. Didn't make any sense. It's like an hour and a half drive by train, hour and a half ride. So I was like, yeah, this is cool. And it's something I don't do every day. So I was excited about the possibility. But I was also a little hesitant because I know the trains are not safe. Think about it this way. Airplanes crash less than Amtrak worldwide. And there's some dangerous airports. I've flown in and out of a few. Woo! But Amtrak makes them all look rather benign in comparison. Anyway, I just found it interesting that the congressmen were going to be dumped in a dumpster, and they wrecked on a government-sponsored, transportation system that apparently needs an overhaul. Anyway, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back in just a bit.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. Let's take a little break from politics for just a second. I mean, it's not fully a break from politics. And let's go a little bit to pop culture. I always like to do that. Kevin Jackson's who you're listening to. kjradio.com, 24/7 on demand. 844-551-8255 if you want to call and talk to a brother. So, this next story is just flatly wrong. It's wrong on so many levels. Virgin Atlantic says it will feature love suites on some of its New York-bound jets that are designed with couples in mind. Yeah. Do you see the irony of Virgin Atlantic flying a plane that is a love suite? I mean, don't they have another airline called Slutty Pacific that they could put this on? Why does Virgin Atlantic want to promote the love suites? See, that's what the left will do to you. They will mess it up. They will change the definition of stuff. Virgin Atlantic. It's going to have 3 love seats in some of the Airbus A330-200 planes that are going to be joining the fleet in March. And it's got other special seating arrangements. What would that be? I'm just curious. Is it going to have like a tube, in the middle? What will it have one of these robo sex bots that we've been hearing so much about? What is this going to have? This Airbus special seating that also has the 3 love suites. They say the love suites are, here we go, ideal for dual dining, watching movies together, or catching up on, and I'm not kidding, the article has quotes around work. The seats are located in the center of the cabin. And when I'm thinking, if this is a suite, is it like a private little room? I mean, what are you going to have in it? I can only picture these adult, the places where you get adult movies. And I will be honest with you, I have never been in one of those joints. Never. And I am curious, but I've been told there are private screening rooms. Now, I don't know about you, but if I went into one of these adult, video places, the last place I want to go is into a private screening room, because that has to be the nastiest place, one of the nastiest places on the planet. Yuck. Love suites. Virgin Atlantic. The revamped upper class seating arrangements include, quote, freedom suites and extra private corner suites in the jet's upper cabin. It reminds me of one of the first trips I took to the Far East. And I flew Sing Air. And I should say for business, because I'd flown to the Far East many times, but I'd never flown Sing Air. And I'd heard I've flown to around the world multiple times, but I'd never flown Sing Air. And so I get in, and this jet is huge. There's 3 places where you enter the plane, and I'm entering in the 3rd. And the company I work for had just instituted you couldn't fly business class anymore, so I was with the heathens, right? And I get on the plane, and a lady comes up and offers me a mimosa. And I was like, oh, no. But the first thing I noticed, outside of it must have been, no exaggeration, 30 flight attendants, male and female, 15 each. And I get on the plane, these leather seats are huge, and I got a private little screen for me. This is decades ago, folks. Private little DVD of my own. Not one that, everybody watches the same movie. So I was blown away. I'm sitting on this seat, this big seat that I could curl up in and go to sleep. Nobody by me. No, I had no neighbor. And the lady comes up and offers me a mimosa. And I'm like, oh, no, hey, hold on a minute. Now, I'm not in business class, first class here. No. Please don't come over here. Don't, I didn't want to have to pay or, get in some trouble. So she said, no, it's okay. You want mimosa? I was like, well, then yes, I'll have a mimosa. And then they come by later, and there's a menu, and it's got 3 choices: chicken, beef, and fish. And I'm looking at a menu going, what? They're going to feed us. And it wasn't like peanuts and pretzels and all that. It wasn't even one of those American Airlines deals. It was like this menu was laminated. It was like, this is gourmet as far as air, the air, being in the air goes. So they bring me my beef meal, which wasn't bad. And then I put on my private video. Some other people are watching others. I'm like, what in the world's going on here? What warped universe am I living in? So they had 2 other classes. They had business class, and they had raffles class. If you've flown Sing Air, you know what I'm talking about. And I couldn't imagine what was going on in raffles. Because if I was in better than business class, better than first class on a passenger jet in America, and I was in, Bush League on Sing Air. So business class had to be just off the chain, and raffles, which was at the very front of the plane, I was going, I don't even want to know what's going on in there, because I know I'm going to be mad, right? But that's how good it was. So I can't imagine what Virgin Atlantic is going to be doing with these extra freedom suites that are up in the private corner. But they say all 3 private corner suites will include free Wi-Fi messaging and barista-style coffee menu. The planes are going to come with names like Strawberry Fields, Honky Tonk Woman, Scarlett O'Hara, and Daydream Believer. And they said all of the 19 upper-class seats turn into beds. Yeah. They were purchased from another airline. They're being reconfigured. They're going to serve Manchester, England, to New York, to Boston, to San Francisco, and Barbados. So this is, the British are now going to get, let me just put it this way. Many people will probably be joining the Mile High Club when they fly Virgin Atlantic to any of those locations. Now, I don't know about you, but if you are, sexually charged, can't you wait? Is it really that big of a deal to go, God, honey, you just got to the airport. I don't know what you did before that, but couldn't you have done something before that or after that? Why is it that you got these people who want to cater to sexual appetites in the air? Can you not wait 2 or 3 hours? I get it. Plane, 5, 6 hours, 8 hours to America. I understand, but you can wait. God, it's just amazing. Look, I think free Wi-Fi, I think barista style coffee, that should be par for the course. We've become spoiled. They should all give us that. I think I fly Southwest with $8 for Wi-Fi. I'm not paying $8 for your sketchy Wi-Fi. Every time I've had to get that, I got it on business a couple times, I had to get a refund. It was sketchy. It would go out. I want consistent Wi-Fi. I want those to be the niceties of travel, given that you have to be locked up with some crazy people for that amount of time. People that can get you sick. For all you know, you got captured some Chinese flu on the airplane. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting story. We'll be back.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. We have a breaking story. Well, it's not so much breaking, but now there's a new twist to the FISA memo. They say Devin Nunes altered the memo. Bum, 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 bum. That's right. He altered the memo. He corrected some typos. And I don't know, did some, something was supposedly potentially could be, an FBI secret that he eliminated from it, but it's been altered. And so now Adam Schiff wants a new vote. Bum, 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 bum. Because the material, parts of the memo have been altered, and now it's falsified. It isn't the same. Now, by the way, he's the chairman of the committee that can do, that has oversight over this, so he can do what he wants. But it's been altered. Took some typos out. And what's funny about it is now it's tainted. So just so we're clear, the FBI dossier, it could be the FBA, Federal Bureau of Aggravation, the FBI dossier that they use to get the FISA warrants to spy on Trump, that's completely fabricated by some British dude who supposedly worked with the Russians on information. All that they got right in that memo was how to spell Trump's names, the Trump family names and the Trump members. That's it. And they say, well, there was factual information in it. Yeah, the name Donald Trump was the only thing factual. It was completely made up. It involved prostitutes and all kinds of, like I said, you'd have to be on hallucinogenic drugs to believe anything about this fake dossier. But that's okay to go ahead and issue a FISA warrant so you can spy on Donald Trump and continue to thwart his election prospects. But because you make a grammatical change to the document that outs the FBI, Schiff wants you to believe, this is terrible. We can't have this. I'm telling you guys, the Democrats are in fear for their scurrilous, scandalous lives, and they better be. They better be. There's lots of signs, folks. Lots of signs. Desperate. Shifting tactics. You want to know what else these suckers have done? These chumps in the Democrat Party, after they realized that President Trump was bulletproof, they shifted tactics and they began targeting others in his administration. Now, I talked about this earlier when they started targeting Donald Trump Jr. They targeted Carter Page. They went after everybody else. For the record, when's the last time you heard the word Manafort? Yeah, when have you heard that? You haven't heard anything about it. Flynn he's in the dust. There is nothing they can do to Flynn because they're going to find out all the information leading to his, so-called shenanigans was illegally obtained. Now, in the end of it, Flynn didn't do a whole lot wrong anyway. But now that it's spinning back on him, you don't hear those names. But they tried to deflect Donald Trump Jr. They went after him. Then remember when they went after Jared Kushner? When's the last time you heard the name Jared Kushner? Dude, he's a son-in-law. He's done it. So now they're shifting again. Scumbag Adam Schiff claims Devin Nunes colluded with the White House when he sent an altered version of the FISA memo that had been approved because it had typos. Yeah. Democrats jumping ship left and right. McCabe will soon lawyer up, and there will be many others. I guarantee you the phones of law offices around D.C. are buzzing They're too hot to touch. They're warning the admins, don't touch the receiver. You could get burned. The big Russian conspiracy, Russian collusion lie is about to be exposed. So the next ploy, they want to sanitize the players, everybody. Yeah, the Washington Examiner wants us to believe that the pro-Hillary, anti-Trump Peter Strzok actually tried to help Donald Trump. I'll read you this. The FBI agent accused of sending anti-Trump text messages co-wrote a draft of the letter former FBI Director Comey sent to Congress informing members he was reopening the Bureau's investigation into Hillary Clinton's private email server days before the 2016 election. Peter Strzok, who exchanged derogatory messages about President Trump and expressed sympathy towards Hillary Clinton with FBI colleague and mistress Lisa Page, was in favor of reopening the probe after new emails were discovered on Representative Anthony Weiner's laptop. A source told CNN. Comey sent a note to lawmakers on October 28th, the day after Strzok circulated his first cut to other FBI officials on the 27th, a little more than a week before voters went to the polls. Clinton has openly blamed this particular letter for her defeat in the 2016 elections. Suggested edits were made to the draft before it was forwarded to Comey by then FBI Chief James Rabicki, per CNN. Comey would eventually send another letter on November 6th advising Congress the probe had been closed. So they want you to believe Strzok, even though he was a partisan hack, he was really going all out to make sure that Hillary Clinton, was found out. Yeah, that's what he was doing. See, Strzok isn't so bad. Wink. He was the reason, folks, that the FBI decided to reopen the case against Hillary Clinton when thousands of additional emails were discovered. Yeah, that's it. So let's begin with the obvious. An untrained baboon knew to reopen the case against Hillary Clinton under those circumstances. What else could the FBI do when thousands of emails are found on a sexual pervert's computer? And you don't know what he's capable of doing with those things when he wants to satisfy his urges. So maybe he was selling secrets. So that's the obvious. But next, what happens afterwards showcases the real corruption, because you know that Strzok reopened the case in order to have the case closed days later. Think about at the time, how many emails we were talking about. We were talking about thousands of emails that needed to be reviewed. Now, of the whatever number of emails that the FBI had early on in the investigation before we found this, we found out it took 150 agents over a year to go through all of the emails. But we're told that of the bounds of emails, and I know it was, I can't remember the number, but it was thousands, they were able to review them within a week and clear Hillary Clinton. Yeah, but get this. Here's what we found from USA Today. The State Department released about 2,800 of those emails, and I love this part, how they wrote this, only a few of which contain classified information. It's part of a successful lawsuit by conservative legal group Judicial Watch. So we had to sue to get to those emails, and they just had a little bit of classified information. The very thing that Hillary Clinton argued against, saying, no, I did not receive any classified information. But here again, we find out that she did. If I'm not mistaken, folks, that's enough to get you put in Leavenworth. Any classified information that was found on a horn dog, Anthony Weiner, his computer, you would think would raise flags with the FBI so that James Comey would say, you know what? I was wrong about the conclusion I came to earlier. But the plot thickens. Oh yeah, dun 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 dun. Because the Daily Mail reported that the FBI knew that these emails were on Anthony Weiner's laptop before they told us that they knew. And here I read this. Text messages between two FBI officials show that outgoing Deputy Director Andrew McCabe knew about the additional emails linked to Hillary Clinton's investigation a month before Congress was informed of them, just days before the 2016 presidential election. So they sat on these. On October 28th, 11 days before the election, then FBI Comey sent out a letter to Congress informing it that more emails were found on the laptop belonging to disgraced Representative Anthony Weiner. Thousands of email messages on Weiner's laptop led the Bureau to revisit the investigation, blah, blah, blah. But the FBI concluded there was nothing in those emails that warranted indicting Clinton. Text messages between two FBI officials, Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, showed that McCabe knew of the newly found emails by September 28th. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. So, they want to clear Peter Strzok. They want to clear the FBI. And then we find out that the guy who just left, McCabe, who resigned right before he was going to get his 25-year pension, he sat on those emails for a month before we were told about it. Oh, but they don't. Yeah. So it's a matter of national security that we don't let this FISA memo leak out, because it would make the FBI look, it would tell people how they work. We know how they work. They work crooked. That's how they work. This is the biggest scandal in the history of this country. What this agency has done, what Barack Obama's administration tried to do to a private citizen who dared buck the system, who dared fight against the corruption that exists in D.C. that has been fermenting, growing for decades, right under our noses. Yeah. I'll end it with this. They say this: Strzok had been targeted by conservatives as an example of bias among law enforcement agencies investigating Clinton and Trump. And then they go on to say he was one of Mueller's investigators for only a short amount of time. So he was targeted? Since when is seeking the truth targeting? That's number one. Strzok put himself in the crosshairs. Nobody else did.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
The FBI has been a place where truth goes to die, and
Correct.
where they're used primarily to cover up. It's under FBI investigation. We can't answer your questions. We'll never see you again. Thank you very much.
And so these political operators are threatening the President of the United States. They're betraying their oath to the Constitution. They are so defensive and so reactive, trying to cover up for the big FBI machine, which, as Ed Rollins pointed out before, frankly has a long history of all sorts of different flavors of corruption.
Right.
And when the American public learns about what's going on at the headquarters, let me tell you something. There's FBI agents or agencies, field offices all over the country where similar shenanigans are going on, and I'll point a finger directly at El Paso, Texas. There's all sorts of abuse, of surveillance, of mail cover, of telephone tap, of intercepts. This, unfortunately,
Of U.S. citizens?
Correct. Things that I personally have reported to the Inspector General of the Justice Department. They know this stuff. This is the worst kept secret in the country. They're terrified. They're embarrassed, and they're frantic, and that's why you see them issuing this statement, which attempts to undercut the actions of the chief executive of the United States.
Welcome back, everybody. Donald Trump is a mean old meanie. That's right. He's a mean old dude. You want to know why? Because he's disrupting the system, a system that's been in place for decades that has fleeced you, stolen from you. And worse than that, it's tried to convince you that you're wrong. When you report the theft, it goes, why would you report this as a theft? What are you talking about? We're stealing your money. We're putting it into useless things that have no consequence, no bearing on what we're trying to do as a nation or whatever. What do you mean we're stealing? We're not stealing. We're helping. We got to help Ray pay for those 16 kids. We got to help pay for the cover-up of Congress members who commit sexual abuse. We got to cover up for all the nonsensical things that we do in manipulating you and maneuvering the media and all that. We got to spend hundreds of millions of your dollars to convince you that Barack Obama was a good president. Hundreds of millions of your dollars to cover up our pork projects. We got to make you believe in a higher power called government, to where we can tell you all the great things we're going to be doing for you, and we can keep kicking the can down the road. We never have to implement what we promise. We can just promise and promise and promise, and you will just listen and listen and listen, and that'll be the end of it. That's where we are. That was Lou Dobbs talking to a guest who's an insider at the FBI who says, I've been reporting on FBI corruption for decades. This is nothing new. You know who gets punished in the government? Whistleblowers. The people who try to expose what the government does, they're the ones who get punished. They get ridiculed. They get, they railroaded. They tell you they're conspiracy theorists. They're the tinfoil hat wearing, people like that. The people who try to expose the VA, they get railroaded. The people who tried to expose what the IRS is doing, they're made out to be kooks. I told you guys when I was on Outnumbered, these knuckleheads, I made one comment about, how do you know what this text meant? It could mean something nothing. It could have been absolutely nothing, or it could have been a plot against the president. I'm talking, oh, Kevin, let me protect you here. So, you're not saying the FBI would be willing to kill the president. I'm not. What I'm telling you is you don't know what the FBI is willing to do. You don't know it any more than I know it. Why is my opinion kooky and your opinion not? Oh, I know, because presidents don't get assassinated. Who would dare want to kill Donald Trump? Who would dare want to disrupt Donald Trump's his different rallies and blame Trump people? Who would dare want to start rumors about Donald Trump with a bunch of floozies to convince you that a billionaire playboy, a good-looking guy that's made of money, who's more popular and more well-known than the president of the United States before he ever became president, has trouble picking up women? The same people that will tell you that guy who graduated from Wharton with a degree in economics takes $1 million, invests it, makes a multi-billion-dollar company, actually accomplishing something, showing up to job sites, understanding construction throughout, bringing his children there, children who firmly support him, and they would tell you he's an idiot, but the guy who can't get 5 family members to come to his funeral, Barack Obama, who had no family members come out of the woodwork to talk about how great he is, who doesn't talk to his sister, who doesn't talk to his brother, who has abandoned everybody, whose friends are nothing but crooks, he's the good guy. Only in a distorted America could you possibly believe that nonsense. Leftist America. Sanity. Our sense of worth, of well-being, even our sanity depends upon remembering. But alas, our sense of worth, our well-being, our sanity also depend upon forgetting. See, that's a statement by Joyce Appleby who applies to the left. That statement applies to the left. Because, see, let me tell you about what Republicans do. We don't forget. Good or bad, we don't forget. What we do is forgive. But we don't forget. Our sanity doesn't depend on remembering and forgetting. Our sanity understands that whatever memory gets created, it's there. And we learn how to deal with it because we have a moral core that allows us to put it in perspective. But the Democrats don't. They have to forget. And the problem with forgetting is you forget your lies. We live in the information age. We played a clip by Chuck Schumer from 2009 about immigration. To listen to that clip and to hear Chuck Schumer talk about immigration today, It's like two different people. It's Jekyll and Hyde. He thought we would forget it. He wanted to forget it. Why? Because we are in charge. He told us what we wanted to hear in 2009 when Barack Obama was in charge. He made it appear that he wanted tougher borders. He wanted security for this. He didn't want to just let people into this country illegally, etc. And you know what he did? Absolutely nothing. And now that something is possibly going to get done, now suddenly Schumer's against it. That's how they work. These Democrats, when it comes to this FISA memo, folks, I want to just let you know exactly what's happening. Pelosi came out not long ago talking about it's a lie. It's a lie, 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 lie. We played a clip of her. She said 14 times in 20 seconds that the memo was a lie. A memo created by the Democrats, at the request of the Democrats, by a left-leaning inspector general in order to prove that Russian interference with the election was what happened. And she now says that memo is a lie. That was excuse number one. Excuse number two was to release the FISA memo would be damaging to the FBI tradecraft. Violation of national security. Cory Booker just said the other day releasing this memo was tantamount to treason. Now, it's been voted on. It's all, we know that the Congress has said this is a legit thing. We've looked at it. This is what needs to be released. But Cory Booker says, no. It's treasonous. You can't let this out. It's got too many things that how the FBI does its work. No, Cory, that's exactly why it has to be released. But they weren't out of excuses, folks. When those excuses didn't work, they got a new one. Nunez is a Russian spy working with Russian-designed Twitter bots who created the hashtag release the memo. And as a follow-on to that, let's call it 3B, Schiff now claims that Nunez worked with the Trump administration on the FISA document prepared by the Inspector General. Why is he saying this? Because Nunez changed the memo with some typos. And now Schiff says it requires a revote because there was a period and a comma misplaced and left out, and they misspelled a couple of words. We need to revote it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And finally, the Democrats now rely on fake news media to try to make the bad guy, Peter Strzok, look good. Oh, he was the one that authored the memo that said that we needed to go after Hillary Clinton. Yeah, so how can the Republicans dare say that he's in, problem? I guess it might be all those emails that he sent saying he hated Donald Trump. Oh, and it might be those 50,000 text messages that are missing or were missing that even gave us more salacious information about what he planned to do to Donald Trump. Maybe that memo's coming out. Good. I hope it's out. Is it out already? If it isn't, it should be, because it's going to shut up Schiff and everybody else. And we're going to finally get to look behind the curtain of the most corrupt administration in the history of the Republic, that of Barack Insane Obama. And all his henchmen are going to go with him.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. The Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
They in trouble. The Democrats are in trouble. I feel like a little kid on the playground. Y'all in big trouble. I told the principal on you. Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. And no, I'm not a petulant child. I'm not one of these little kids that's a tattletale or whatever, but I am one that says, I told you, I warned you. That's what we did. kjradio.com is how you can get a hold of us 24/7 on demand. You want to call the program 844-551-8255. We told the Democrats to stop messing with us. You poke the tiger, you might just get scratched. You might get bit. You might get eaten, and that's what's happened. I likened this. I was on a radio program, and I said, you know what the Democrats did? with Donald Trump, they kept picking on him. You've been in a situation where somebody just picks on somebody, and they think that the person is the weaker person because that person doesn't really respond back. That person doesn't get all crazy. Like, what you doing? Hitting on me? I'll go crazy up in here. They don't just get nutty. Most of my friends don't get nutty, because we're fighters. You pick on us, we're like, man, just back off. Come on, man. Look, you don't want this. Just leave this alone. But you're not afraid. But the other guy, because you don't come back hard, like, what? They're like, oh, he must be scared. And you're like, no, it's not, man. Just look, just chill, leave it alone, whatever. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to warn you. I'm going to give you something to think about. I don't have to worry about the conservatives, but there's some liberals, some leftists that listen to the radio show. Don't bother that guy. He's not trying to help himself. He's trying to help you. He's warning you. When you get a guy like that says, look, man, I don't want to fight. He's telling you, I fight too much. I fight every day. I work out. I'm sexy and I know it. Oh, sorry. Got a little carried away. But this is a guy telling you, it's like, I can speak for myself and many of my friends. There comes a day when you've trained a lot of years, and especially in the martial arts, where you go, man, I've done a lot of training, and you get mad. And it's a day where everything catches up. You could be having relationship issues, and the one guy, if he comes up from the wrong time to bother you, you're going to say, it's time to put all that training to work. But you're taught not to do that. You're taught to avoid the fight. Leave it alone. Just don't mess with it. Because you're trained, and the likelihood the other person isn't, because a person who's a trained fighter doesn't usually go around picking fights. They understand, that it's not, they don't think of it the way other people tend to think of it. For them, it's war. And you're a warrior. And you win at all costs. So you try to avoid it. You really do. You work your hardest to. Now, there have been exceptions. I won't lie. I got a couple of friends that are been a little mean-spirited. And I'll be honest, when I was in my 20s, I was just like that. I was mad. I would fight really, really quick. But you outgrow it and you go, yeah, I'm going to be a peacemaker now. Always ready for war. What the Democrats did is they picked on Donald Trump, who says, I'm amply prepared for war, but I really don't want to go to war with you. And he pushed them back a little bit. Hey, just, kind of just push back. Like, hey, here's my tweet. Boom. And, he's just kind of pushing. And the Democrats, oh, no, you all bad up in here. Mr. Trump, we about to get some of this here. You seen that guy? He's running around, jumping around. You can look at him and know he can't fight, but nobody's ever told him, and he's never been challenged to the point because he's a big mouth and people are afraid, and they've left him alone. Well, he came up and pushed Trump, and then Trump decided, you know what? I'm going to start kicking that butt. And he starts beating that butt. And that's exactly where we are right now. The Democrats pushed and pushed. The collusion, Russian collusion. What you going to do, man? Russian collusion. And Trump goes, all right, release the memo. The one-punch knockout. The FISA memo. And that's where we find ourselves, with the one-punch knockout. And I've talked early in the broadcast how the Democrats have tried to demean this memo, calling it a lie, a memo of their own creation to protect Hillary. The irony of that is too funny. They call it a lie. They say, oh, no. If it isn't a lie, it'll release too much information. Well, if it'll release too much information and it's a lie, what do you care? Oh, they don't have an answer for that one. So then they go, hey, we can't get Trump, so let's go after somebody else. So they went after Nunes. Nunes, look at him. He's a fake. He's a fraud. He changed it. Yeah. He's a Russian spy was even one of the theories presented. And then the last one, which is the latest, Nunes changed the memo because he corrected a couple of commas and apostrophes and, whatever else. And it's fundamentally changed. Now, Adam Schiff won't tell you what changed. He didn't say. He says the changes were substantive. Okay, well, what are they? Well, I can't tell you. Then, sorry, business as usual, broski. So, anything to taint this investigation, that's what they want to do. But I don't even care about that. I don't. I know, we all know what's going to come out in this memo because we're already seeing the dominoes fall. We're watching the people little by little. What I wish you could see, what I wish this government was capable of giving you in terms of truth is the scrambling that's happening behind the scenes. What these people are so afraid of. I wish that Schiff had the guts to come to you and say, you know what, man, we screwed the pooch here. What we know about this FISA memo means we never should have been surveilling Donald Trump. Ask yourself how refreshed you'd feel. Let me just put it a different way. The Democrats have an out. They have an out. I just described it. It's called the truth. If the Democrats were to say, guys, look, we've been doing a lot of scrambling over the last month and a half, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, 6 months. And it's because we've really felt bad and we've done the wrong thing. Instead of coming to you and telling you the truth, which is the FBI did indeed take wrong information to try to build a case against Donald Trump at the time, who's now President Trump, and we shouldn't have done that. There were misuses of authority, abuses of authority all throughout this process that need to be now rectified. And if you'd allow us, without release of the memo, to do this, we promise to make this right. I might even buy it. But what they're doing now is saying, this memo, it's wrong, it's fake, it's fraud, it's bad, and now you're just playing cover up, baby. And you know what? I'm happy they're doing it because I don't like them. I don't like these frauds. They don't have the guts to tell you the truth about this, and that's sad. We'll be back, folks. Kevin Jackson, who you listening to?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
All right, everybody, Kevin Jackson here. Stormy Daniels, do you know that name? Stormy Daniels is the lady of the evening, we shall call her, who supposedly was engaged in an affair with Donald Trump. They call her an adult film star. She's a star. Come to Hollywood. I'll put you over the casting couch and I'll make you a star, said Harvey Weinstein. Except Stormy went a different route. She was like, let's just get past all the formalities. Okay. All right then. Adult film star. It's funny. I love the euphemistic names that people give to their careers. You know, sanitation expert, janitor, adult film star. Okay, I'll let you make up your own word for that. She canceled her appearance on The View. It was scheduled for yesterday on the heels of a guest panelist mocking her on the ABC morning show. Stormy Daniels was supposed to be coming on The View. We are not sure what happened anymore, co-host Whoopi Goldberg said on the Wednesday show. An ABC spokesperson confirmed that Daniels indeed canceled the appearance. Last week, HLN host S.E. Cupp appeared as a guest panelist on The View and criticized the media for being interested in an adult film star. Stormy Daniels, she's cleaning up, Cupp said. She's making tons of money. Her career is revived. She's just playing the hand she was dealt. No problem there. What bothers me, though, in giving her this platform, you know, Monica Lewinsky was also caught having an affair with the president. Who's going to interview her? I'd love to see someone interview her. Now, I don't know. I know S.E. quite well. I don't know that that's the barometer I'd use. Lewinsky is sort of the victim. You know, she's the young intern who was taken advantage of by the president, who then threw her to the wolves because she wasn't used to what was going to be happening. She didn't understand what Hillary Clinton was going to do to ruin her life. And how Bill was going to follow whatever Hillary said because he's cuckold. So that was that. She had no idea the storm that was coming her way. Stormy, on the other hand, knew it. It was in her name. So I don't agree with S.E. that Monica Lewinsky could have tried, in many ways, could have probably feasted on that whole scandal. You know, she could have. I mean, I know she did a book. To be honest with you, I didn't follow her career. But it was one of those things where you can only go so far in telling that story. How long do you want your name to be associated with a sexual act? I mean, how many people are like, yeah, you know, it's getting a Lewinsky and blah, blah, blah. It became the joke that quite frankly isn't very funny. I mean, imagine her parents. And your daughter, your namesake is now become synonymous with what she and Clinton were involved in. So Stormy Daniels, on the other hand, she picked a career of sex. And what's funny to me is I'm looking at this situation going, you got to look at the left and ask yourself, why would you pick this person? Why would you pick a woman who, you know, multiple times a day, having sex is her career, and you say, oh, that's what's going to do Donald Trump in? It isn't the fact that he had an affair with a woman. He had an affair with an adult porn star. In the Democrat circles, that gets you back. You know, you probably get a Nobel Peace Prize. But it was like, what? How low can we go? You know, let's get some gutter trash. We'll associate that with Trump. And the further they go, the more ridiculous it sounds. I keep coming back to this. I'm a good-looking billionaire. If I had a thing for adult film stars, I would admit it. I go, yeah, I like Tito. What's his name? UFC guy. Dadgummit. Anyway, Tito, got the blonde hair. It used to be a big deal in the UFC. He's not anymore. Never was that great of a fighter, to be honest with you. But Tito Ortiz, thank you. Anyway, he proudly dates a porn star. Proudly. They need loving too. I'm not talking about sex. They need loving. These people, believe it or not, have husbands and wives who accept their careers. It's strange as it sounds. I mean, to me, it's as freaky as, transsexualism or whatever you want to, transgender. But there are people that don't care. So if Trump, this idea that they're going to make Trump, we're going to show that you paid this woman off, who you were having an affair. Donald Trump could have any woman he wanted. He didn't have to pick a porn star. And I'm just telling you, the level of restraint that Donald Trump has shown in dealing with women is miraculous on many circles. I mean, there are guys out there that I can tell you, there are women out there that agree with me. This dude is a straight up billionaire, well-known, good-looking guy. I mean, I don't judge men, but I'm saying I think most women would find, a lot of women would find Trump good-looking. I'll tell you this, they certainly found his wallet good-looking. He's got private jets. Donald Trump hung around the most beautiful women in the world, and they want to make him hang out with gutter trash. And like I said, the farther they get to, the more they get into it, the more unbelievable it becomes. I mean, it gets to the point where even winos are going, I was with him until they said he was with that prostitute. That girl is making all them nasty films. They had me up to there. I was like, no way. I mean, I'm just telling you, my drunkest uncle knows that's a lie. So I don't get it. And now we're the media. She canceled. She was on Jimmy Kimmel the night before. They said it. I didn't even look at the clip. They said it was the most uneventful interview because she said on many times, I'm not denying this affair because I was paid hush money. It's been reported in the overseas owned tabloids. I'm denying this affair because it never happened. Her real name is Stephanie Clifford, and she said that. She provided the letter. She goes, look, this didn't happen. What is you guys' fascination with this? And I can promise you this, Donald Trump would have no problem owning it. He goes, yeah, I dated Stormy. Yeah, she was Stephanie. I mean, I called her Stephanie, but yeah, I dated her. What the heck? What? What? She doesn't deserve a chance at happiness? I can't imagine this. Now, if they want to make it was an affair. Let me tell you something. Donald Trump wants to have an affair. It would have been easy to do. That's what billions of dollars lets you do. Dude, man, to be, I mean, I told people we needed somebody flawed. To be as flawed as Donald Trump is, he's got to be the cleanest dude out there. Seriously. We couldn't have picked a better candidate to just flick off this nonsense. Unbelievable. Anyway, I'm glad she canceled. And I hope she is feasting over this. Because as I've said, if anything involving Trump makes other people money, congratulations to them. That's just him spurring the economy. So Stormy, you do your thing, girl. And don't go on The View because they don't care anything about you.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. The Democrats are getting a dose of sanity. Yep. Drug addicts, people that are on drugs. I've never used drugs, but one of my buddies would say to me, he'd be telling a story and he'd be high. He'd say, yeah, man, I was all high, and then this cop pulled up and I got my snap. And I was like, you got what? He's like, I got my snap. And I didn't know what that terminology is. You guys know what that is? Got your snap? Yeah. Well, I'm not going to ask you how. I don't want to get into your business. All right. But my buddy explained to me getting your snap means it ruins your high. Right? People use the term, you're such a buzzkill. Yeah. Because they're all high and you're like, boy, what you doing with your feet up on my table? You know better than to get your feet on my table. And they're like, oh man, you're such a buzzkill, mom. Because they get it. They understand it. Somebody snaps them back into the reality of what they're doing. That's what the Democrats are. They're a bunch of drug addicts. What do they call them? Head cases. They don't even know what they're doing. They're just out there doing stuff because it's just cool, man. It's meant to be fun. Yeah. Hey, I tell you what. Let's say that Donald Trump colluded with the Russians. Yeah. And we'll get a British guy to make it up, and then we'll get the FBI to pretend that that's real. Just like a bunch of, that's what it is. It's like dope heads, crackheads. And then they get caught and they get their snap. Oh, shoot. They found out. Buzzkill. Democrats are getting a good dose. They're getting a dose of sanity. And the truth has a way of doing that to you. You know, imagine you're a drunk driver, right? You're drunk. You're driving along and boom! Next thing you know, man, you've hit something. And that jolt of, oh, shoot. And you may still be drunk. I mean, your blood level is drunk, but the dopamines that hit your brain, that go bang, something bad just happened. They hit you and they snap you out of that thing you were in and make you go, oh, crap. And then you start to realize all the bad things. You start going back over those choices. Dang it. I knew I shouldn't have driven. I knew I was drunk. I knew this was it. God, I never thought this was going to happen. You ever had those kind of regrets?
I mean, here's one. Be careful how much you drink. Remember, alcohol loosens inhibitions. So you may end up doing something you regret, or worse. Something worse than something I would regret. Something so vile and it just a crime against humanity, so amoral that you don't even regret it. That's how sick and awful it was. You psychologically cannot afford to regret it, or you will kill yourself. You zoom right past regret and head straight to denial and justification. That's how awful that thing was.
Remind you of anybody? Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. I love the humor. You know what I love about humor? Humor reminds you of real life. Yeah, it reminds you of it. And the Democrats are living exactly what David Cross, the comedian, is talking about. They zoomed right past regret. It isn't about regret. It's about the cover-up now. Because they got a dose of sanity. Boom, they hit that car. Oh my gosh, they hit 4 cars. And finally snapped out of it. As my dope smoking friend, dope using friend would say, got their snap. And now they're trying to cover it up. How can I get out of this? Are there traffic cams? Did people hear alarms going off on cars? People looking out the window. I think I could get away with it. So their cars clack, 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 away from the scene of the crime. That is exactly how I see this happening with the Democrats. Regrets. Don't want to admit their guilt. Doing anything they can for subterfuge, knowing that they've been spotted. They're on traffic cam. They got people that have cameras looking out at the cars. They got people coming out of houses. They got cars whizzing by. Multiple people have seen the crime scene. We can still get away with it. You want to know why? They're so used to getting away with it. When McCabe got fired, James Comey was tweeting, stood tall under attack from small people. Did you guys hear about this? He's fighting from his subterranean rat hole, but that hole's going to be filled with water and he's going to get flushed out because he's going to be before the man. This disgraced former director of the FBI decided he was going to comment on the dismissal of his number one. Yet another embarrassment of this formerly venerable organization, Andrew McCabe. And so Comey's like, Andrew, you stand tall, man. Yeah, revenge of the midgets. Hours after it was announced that McCabe would be stepping down from his post at the FBI, the former disgraced James Comey responded in a tweet. Special Agent Andrew McCabe stood tall over the last 8 months when small people were trying to tear down an institution we all depend on. He served with distinction for 2 decades. I wish Andy well. I also wish continued strength for the rest of the FBI. America needs you. You ain't fooling nobody, man. That's the former G-man who lawyered up. I trust that statement as much as I trust Mexican water. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. No moleste. No moleste, por favor. Who exactly are the small people that Comey's talking about? The American people? Because all we big Americans want is the truth. The small people tearing down an institution formerly represented by this 6'8" cream puff named James Comey are the people that work for Comey. And despite the damage that's done by the FBI to itself, the fake news press wants to paint what's happening here, folks, as a Trump vendetta against McCabe. But we know the truth. The world knows the truth. The people who are at guilt, I guess that they're guilty. The people guilty here are the FBI themselves and all the people complicit. The people who leveraged the nation's Federal Bureau of Investigation to unleash all its power onto Donald Trump. When you think about that, think about what it takes to fight the system like that and to come out on top. Man, do we owe ourselves a pat on the back. Go ahead. I'll wait. CNN actually said this about McCabe. McCabe was a central target of President Donald Trump's ire toward the FBI over the investigation into possible collusion between his campaign and Russia during the 2016 election, as well as the Bureau's handling of former Democratic rival Hillary Clinton's case. Yeah, that's what Trump was upset about. He was upset because they were investigating the corruption case. No, he was upset because they knew that they were lying about why they should be investigating this case. He was upset because he knew he'd done nothing. And he knew that the FBI knew it. And this was all just a cover-up to make Hillary look good, to give her some sort of protection. He's not mad. If the FBI needs to do its job, Donald Trump's not mad. You're not mad. I'm not mad. Who would be mad? If you have a legitimate beef and it involves the Federal Bureau of Investigation, go for it. But when you fabricate something, that's when the nation says, we're not going for that. Comey was in a similar position, they write, until Trump fired him in May. The Trump administration attributed Comey's dismissal to the handling of the investigation into the Clinton email server, but later Trump admitted he was thinking of the Russia thing when he made the decision. Exactly. He wasn't mad about Comey doing what he was, if it was a legitimate case. What he was mad about with Comey is Comey knew this was fabricated. But CNN wants you to believe Trump had some sort of vendetta. He just wanted to get rid of them because they were investigating him. No, they were not supposed to be investigating him. That's why he was mad. He knew it and they knew it. And what this FISA memo and all the other stuff we're learning is essentially vetting out is they all knew this. They were all complicit. If we operated in the real world, folks, the entire management team of the FBI and the Department of Justice would have been fired months ago. But due to the optics, deep state operatives are allowed to continue their sedition. But I think it's a setup. I think Donald Trump knows what he's doing. Much to his credit, he lets these leftists out themselves. He merely lies in wait as they come around him, and then he springs these traps. And the Democrats ensnare themselves in them each and every time because they're as predictable as their Bible, Alinsky's rules for radicals. So soon, let me tell you folks, James Comey's not going to be tweeting nearly as much. He doesn't get that much prison time on the computer.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Ooh, I love these stories when black people got legitimate beefs. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the KJ Radio Show. kjradio.com. 844-551-8255. A black woman is suing Walmart for product segregation. She wants the products integrated. Roe v. Wade. No, that's abortion. Dred Scott. No, that's ownership of, let me see, integration. Civil Rights Act of 1965 for hair care products. Oh, man. Go to any store in the hood, and let me tell you what you're going to see. You'll see products on lockdown. That's right. In some inner city bodegas, patrons view the entirety of the store's selection from behind plexiglass. I've never been in one of those stores. Actually, that's not true. There's one in St. Louis. You walk in, it gives you about 8 feet before you get to the counter, and everything is behind a counter that's got a plexiglass screen. Everything. I often wonder how that guy's store is going to do, because QT put a store about 4 blocks up from him. But before that QT store went in, he was the only game in, within, say, a mile. So he probably did pretty well. But I went in there, I honestly, out of curiosity, and I think I wanted to get like some chips or something for one of my kiddos. And I was like, okay. And that store was on total. I was like, wow. But I saw one where the entire store is behind plexiglass. There's no countertop. His had a counter, and then above the counter was plexiglass where he would hand you stuff through that little dip in the in the counter, or he could pass it through a hole that was in the top, depending upon what it was. And I just remember, didn't even think anything about it. Now, when I grew up, there was a store it was right across the street from church. I could never wait to get out of church because I knew I had a nickel, and I could run over to that little store and buy as much candy as I could. And the guy who ran that store, he loved it. Everything was accessible when I was a kid. You could run through that store. It was little, but you could get anything you wanted. You put it up to the counter, paid for it, and left. But nowadays, it's not that way in black community stores. There used to be I think it was called a Racetrack. It was a store called Racetrack, TRAC, and they had a store, and everything was behind the counter. It was another store in St. Louis. It was right at the corner. It was at the corner of 44 and Jefferson, and almost at the corner. There's a library at the corner. But people that know St. Louis know exactly what I'm talking about. And you would go into that store, and the people behind the counter had to get everything for you, just like that bodega. And I remember thinking, wow, this is mainstream here. Talk about an eye-opening thing that tells you live in the hood is when you see a store like that. Because like I said, I'd never seen that. They took it down finally, probably because somebody complained. But the guy who runs that little bodega, same thing. He's got that. It's the same setup. Anyway, this black woman, she's wanting to sue Walmart over what she calls product segregation. And here's the story in Newsweek. A Southern California woman filed a lawsuit against Walmart on Friday alleging racial discrimination after she found that her local store was keeping beauty products marketed towards black shoppers and locked cases separated from other products. Essie Grundy, who is represented by Gloria Allred, said that she was told the policy of, quote, segregated beauty products at the Paris, California location was a directive from corporate headquarters. In a press conference, Allred said that the employees told Grundy that she would need to be escorted to the cash register with the products to pay for them. It perpetuates a stereotype that African Americans are thieves, said Allred. So I want you to imagine how Walmart came to this decision. Go with me on this. First, black leftists were indeed stealing these products. Second, in today's politically correct climate, you can bet Walmart saw this action as something of a last resort. So instead of understanding why Walmart protects these certain products Grundy made these actions racist. This article says, Grundy, a mother of 5, said she was not allowed to touch the lotion she picked out until she had purchased it, making her feel like a criminal. She said she was buying a comb that cost 48 cents and didn't understand why the item was locked away, while other non-African American products that were more expensive were not. Oh, really? She couldn't put that logic together, huh? Allred didn't specify damages that Grundy is seeking, but the lawsuit demands that the practice be stopped immediately. And her research, by the way, didn't end with one Walmart. She went to other locations to see how they were doing things, and she says she visited 2 nearby locations and found varying but similar circumstances. Cosmetics for black shoppers were under additional surveillance with security cameras, while products marketed towards other ethnicities were not, she recalled. Videos and pictures circulated on social media after the news conference show that the locked boxes are a feature in many locations across the country. Okay. And there's a reason why. I said it earlier. I gave you a hint. Black leftists are the biggest thieves in the country. They can get mad at me for saying it, but it's a fact. If those products were leaping off the shelves and Walmart were selling them in big numbers, they'd be wide open. Retailers protect themselves from what they call shrinkage. Now, that's just another word, a fancy word for theft. And trust me when I tell you this, folks, I know the retail market segment fairly well. A large portion of this shrinkage or this theft is internal, meaning employees are figuring out how to steal from you. When you hire leftists, understand you've hired thieves. You've got a cancer inside of your business. They are looking for ways to take advantage of you. Shoplifting, though, is a big part of the bottom line. Loss prevention is what this all falls under, and they take all kinds of crazy measures for loss prevention. They've talked about RFIDs. You've got these, different things that beep when you go out of a store, all these different things, these mechanisms for loss prevention, including additional security cameras in the lot. Walmart responded. They said the company doesn't accept racial discrimination of any kind. They said we're sensitive to this situation and understand, like other retailers, that some products, such as electronics, automotive, cosmetics, and other personal care products are subject to additional security. Those determinations are made on a store-by-store basis using the data supporting the need for the heightened measures. While we've yet to review a complaint, we take the situation seriously and will address it with the court. Now, I'm going to tell you, they have sophisticated loss prevention models. Walmart bases its decision on transactional data. Now, let me tell you what that means. If I've got 50 hair care products of blacks, and when we do our recount, our inventory, I've got 10 of them, but I've only sold 10, I've got a 30 product discrepancy. And the only answer is shrinkage, theft. After a detailed analysis of the, quote, black products, I guarantee you Walmart's loss prevention team said, our black products have a tendency to not end up in the register. So we're going to put them under lock and key. And then we'll analyze the data. And you know what came back with the data? No more shrinkage. Now, was it internal? Don't know, don't care. Was it external? Don't know, don't care. What I can tell you loss prevention looked at is problem solved. They didn't arbitrarily select those products. Those products selected themselves. So, Grundy exacerbates a problem. Instead of blaming the real culprit, she blames the retailer. And Chris and I were talking, Harris and I were talking, and Chris said, man, I would go after a person like Grundy and Allred. I would ruin their lives. I would say to them, you're never going to get a nickel off of me. Because number one, you're wrong. And I'm going to make sure your life is miserable. I will spend $5 million to make sure you don't get a penny. And Gloria Allred, I'm going to put you out of business. Essie Grundy, whatever your name is, you're going to have a difficult time finding work. When my team is done with you for creating this frivolous lawsuit based on our business models, you and anybody like you is never going to come at Walmart again. I would make such an example of her and her attorney that nobody would want to sue me ever again. This is where you got to take the stance and say, I can put an end to this nonsense. This is not segregation of products. This is a Walmart showcasing a problem happening in America that black people don't want to admit to.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.